What is something that has aged well? Roger Federer, still a top 10 player at 38. Band of Brothers. 90s Japanese cars. The word cool. Incredibly. Some very old photography. Sure, they might be now in digital and WE. But the composition. Attention to detail. There's just so much. Example: this alcohol pouring during Prohibition. HTTPS. Static. Bored Panda. Com, blog, WP content, UU uploads, must see black and white historic moments, must see black and white historic moments 33. Denim in general. I find that a few classic rock bands are still very popular with young people today. Bands such as the Beatles, Queen, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC, Metallica, Guns N' Roses and Nirvana especially are the most popular amongst my peers. Anything scored by John Williams. He makes scenes feel so alive and meaningful. Edit. Thank you for my first award. Alexa, play Duel of the Fates. Arabic numerals, or what most people call numbers, since around 500 AD. It's been 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And the entire world uses them. Even cultures without the Latin alphabet use them. Always interesting seeing them used in Asian languages. Writing, as they stand out seeming Western. But they were in fact developed in Asia by Hindu mathematicians and spread throughout Middle East where they became popular. Hence, Arabic numerals. Edit. I get it, Arabs don't use this numeral system, what a misnomer, am I right? And an Indian mathematician Aryabhata developed the concept of zero. This is why I included. Developed in Asia by Hindu mathematicians. The earlier episodes of The Simpsons. Batman. The animated series. Astronomer here. There is a star about 200 light-years away from us called the Methuselah star, which appears to be about as old as the universe itself. Specifically, the universe is thought to be about 13.8 billion years old. And the star is, based on its composition, estimated to be 14.46 plus or minus 0.8 billion years old. So presumably if you err on the side of that minus, it's younger than the age of the universe. But still, the fact that it's been shining for a good 13 plus billion years is astounding. For reference, our sun has been burning for about 4.5 billion years, and has about 5 billion more to go. So this star has already lasted longer than our sun ever will. The first Men in Black. A person is smart, people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. Terminator 2. Anytime I watch this movie, I think I am even more impressed with the practical and VFX they were able to pull off seamlessly. In 1991. Lego. Aliens 1986. Tetris. Still addictive. I sometimes get hallucinations of falling pieces after playing. Art Nouveau. From the architecture, the jewelry, to the fashion, I find it all incredibly aesthetic. Even music I hated when it was new now sounds good because of nostalgia. Jurassic Park. I still think the visuals look great in that movie. Even if it were to be released today. Weird Al. Celebrity after celebrity comes out with drug problems. Abuse allegations. Friends with Weinstein. And there's Weird Al, singing a coronavirus polka. Calvin and Hobbes. Steve Carell. That man has aged like a fine wine. 2019. Lord of the Rings trilogy. Still great. Also I enjoy the Rankin-Bass version of The Hobbit. Betty White. My 84-year-old mother who still walks 3 miles a day and has all her wits about her. Paul Rudd. The first 2 Home Alone movies. They are still hilarious and very fun to watch after all these years. Anyone I know has watched them at least 2 to 3 times. The Twilight Zone. The series premiered in 1959 and so many of the episodes still hold up today because of its brilliant writing. Seasons 1 to 3 of SpongeBob. Classics to this day. Avatar: The Last Airbender. 12 Angry Men. It's over 60 years old and still a very great and compelling movie to watch in 2020. Old Nintendo games. The speedrun community alone speaks for this. It's crazy how much hype there still is for 20 to 30-year-old single-player games. Also, just because I've gotten a bunch of replies about this, I'm using single-player games as an example. I have observed, I don't personally play old multiplayer games as much, but I have noticed that there is a huge community for the single-player games. Lol. I'm not in any way saying they're more popular than multiplayer games. I'm aware that old multiplayer games, even non-Nintendo, StarCraft, AOE, etc., are still huge. The Princess Bride. The GameCube. Seriously. Play some old games. A.E. Kirby Air Ride is still a blast and looks fairly good even nowadays. Me. Bubble Wrap. D. Heath Ledger as Joker. Megamind. The villain being a nice guy incel was absolutely ahead of its time. And I think now that we are farther away from Will Ferrell we can appreciate his role more now that it's not something oversaturated. The animation still looks amazing. And the music selection feels very reminiscent of both Shrek and Guardians of the Galaxy. The comedy doesn't feel dated at all. And very timeless. You could watch multiple times and learn something new every time. As I have. A lot. It's starting to get a lot more love now, which is great because now I can talk about it with other people and not look batshit crazy. Shawshank Redemption. Definitely Rick rolling. It has been a thing for about a decade and is one of the most popular memes and ways to troll on the internet. Vaccinated Kids. Mr. Bean. There were only 15 episodes made in the early 90s. Yet everyone knows who he is. Serial Experiments Lane. A show with only 13 episodes. Each 22 minutes. Released in 1998 that managed to be incredibly similar to now. The show had an immense presence of technology. From everybody having a portable cell phone they used for mail and the internet. To online MMORPGs at one point. To even a guy with augmented reality. It's surprising how well the show has aged with its predictions. The movie Office Space. P.S. Like 7 or 8 years ago I was texting friends that called me out for something and I responded with, "That may be. But at least I never slept with Lumberg." My friend just responded, "That movie has aged well." Looks like that still holds true today. Mr. Rogers. He was amazing as a child. I respected him as an adult. And I love him as a legacy. No crazy stories. No scandals. Just an amazing person. Me. 70 on the 4th of April 20. Down 140 pounds from 300. Walk 30 miles a week. Perfect EKG. Perfect blood work. Perfect blood pressure. Happier than I have ever been. Salma Hayek. The Dark Knight movie from 2008. Gaming as a whole. It's really evolved. And a lot of people play games. There's even a sports league based off of some of the games. I made Alton Brown's aged eggnog recipe last summer. I still have a small amount of it left and it continues to taste better as it ages even after 7+ months. The movie Young Frankenstein. It's hilarious. And isn't full of gags that are super offensive today. Movies like Airplane and Blazing Saddles are considered comedy classics. But they couldn't possibly be made today. Young Frankenstein absolutely could if there was a competent enough director and writing team around. Avatar. The Last Airbender. As a kid, I thought, wow, this show is great. Why don't I hear much about it? But the past few years, I hear good stuff about it here and they're non-stop. It's great. Tom and Jerry cartoons. Neville Longbottom. Dinosaurs. They're rock solid. Seinfeld. The 80s. A time that displayed a future that never happened. Only for the future to feel nostalgic over it. The movie Idiocracy. Horror movies. They're not as scary as they used to be. But the aesthetic is amazing. Beautifully creepy movies. My 91-year great-grandfather who somehow seems to be perfectly capable of things you would expect from a person his age. He's a great person. The Matrix. First one. I watch it every 5 years or so and I still don't know how they pulled it all off. The story. The style. The cinematography. The action. The world. The music. The feeling it gives you. Like in moments when Neo is told to follow the white rabbit and then you see the girl's tattoo. The movie is a masterpiece. The Thing. Older than most of us here and still holds up as an awesome horror movie. Me. 53 years old. Got sober 90 days ago. Addicted to yoga. Lost 32 pounds in 2 months. Six-pack emerging in former beer belly. Wallace and Gromit. First episode was made in 1989 and it's just a great show about a British man and his dog inventing stuff and going on adventures. Grand Day Out. Is to this day my favorite episode of any show. I watched it when I was a kid and I revisit it every year or so. Y'all should check it out. Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy. Just finished watching them and they still look amazing. Led Zeppelin's music. Nostalgia.